Hello, everyone, and welcome to Leadership Development. Today, we're going to look at the review for the final exam. I'm going to give you several slides throughout this review that'll help you to understand what's on the test, what will be expected of you, and so use these slides to create the review that you will need for the exam. All right, let's begin looking at them. We first look at the reflections on leadership. This is one of the slides I call Cowboy Leadership. So be able to list out the different leadership qualities that are given to us in this article by Katie Holmes about cowboy leadership. Those are very helpful. Be able to understand this quote here: the key to success is realizing that our big goals aren't going to happen overnight. Just have a good understanding of that. You don't have to have it memorized, but just know that our success in this life, our big goals, are not going to happen overnight. So overnight would be a big point to make there. Know Hebrews chapter 3, verses 15 through 19, the idea of learning from the past. If we don't learn from the past, there's a great chance we are going to repeat past mistakes. And so we need to be careful about that. You can see this being explained in Hebrews chapter 3. The next thing is learning from experience. Understand that Mid-America Baptist Theological Seminary works very hard to help people understand what it is to share their faith. And so they have to work at a practical mission site, or they have to serve there. And they also have to share their faith. So there's assignments, there's also witnessing. And this is to help people understand the importance of sharing their faith, but also to get out there and practice it. Know this quote by John Dewey: "We do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience." Know that John Dewey said that. That would be important. Then understand human networking, the value of networking. Be able to list out some of the values of networking, why it really matters, what it does for you. Connect others to sources of power. Understand how this works. If you want to be successful, make everyone around you successful. Important slide to know a lot about there. And then develop social awareness and social skills. Emotional intelligence, that would be a key phrase that I'd like for you to know about. And then, of course, we have the ways to explain that: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, social skills. And know that slide. Know this acronym. I think it's a great one just for us to have in our minds. So really good. And then this acronym as well about trust. Okay, so no team, no trust. Know what those stand for. Okay, and then be trustworthy. We need to be able to create a climate of trust in our setting or in our environment, wherever we're leading. And so this is a way that you can do that. Know these two slides here that will go along with that. And then know about Exodus 17, verses 12 and 13, how Moses was strengthened. Moses was strengthened so that the battle could be won for the Israelites. How was he strengthened? He was strengthened by two people holding up his arms. And be able to explain how this helps out in leadership development. They're holding up his arms. They're holding him up so that they can win the war, win the battle. And that's significant in leadership development. We've looked at that in a previous lesson. Also, Barnabas strengthened others, and we talked about Barnabas a little bit. Be able to recognize some of those things about Barnabas that he did. Of course, Acts chapter 4 gives us an idea of who he was, the type of person he was. Now, we look at provide choices for workers, and why are choices so important for workers? I give you 5 C's here. Be able to list out these C's, know these, and that'll be beneficial to you on the test. Okay, practice problem solving. How do you work through problems? How do you do that? Well, here are 4 steps. Know these 4 steps of working through issues within an organization or within personnel, that type of thing. Okay, steps to confidence. I'd really like for you to know some of the steps to confidence The first one I think is just so vital and important. Turn off the media. And I would love for you to be able to know that that's one of the steps of confidence. Just don't listen to what the media just has to say or what's on social media, because those can tear us down. We can be insecure. We can quickly get depressed by what's going on in other people's lives. So let's not get caught up in that, but instead, let's see what God has told us about ourselves, and then how are we carrying out God's purposes in our lives. Next, Theodore Roosevelt said this: believe you can and you're halfway there. Know that quote, and who said that, of course. And then pay attention to employees. Leaders must be, and I list some things here: visible, relational, approachable, and prove that they care. And so leaders must be like this. So know those things. The benefits of church discipline. Why is it important, and what does it do for us? Well, it's biblical, it builds up individuals, and we have some things listed there. So know some of the reasons or the benefits of church discipline. So know some of those. And then overview of recognition. When we're recognizing someone for job well done, or accomplishing something new, or being creative, or however you want to, or for whatever reason you want to recognize someone, make sure that you look at it this way. Be thoughtful, be creative, be intentional, be public about it, and then timely. Schedule celebrations throughout the year. Here's some ways to do that. I give you these because they're helpful for you to understand what is it, how would you celebrate people throughout the year or different seasons. And so you can do that there. Develop great teams, teach effective leadership, build team unity, make use of team abilities, practice mutual submission, teach people to follow creatively. This is a great way to develop great teams. Okay, and then the decision maker or decision-making critical thinking skills. Be able to explain critical thinking skills. That'll be important. And so it'd be really good to know John 16 as well, talking about the Spirit leads us on in all truth. A great quote here: united we stand, divided we fall. It'd be good to be able to fill in a blank there. So united we, whatever that is, choose the word, or divided we, and then choose the word. Be looking at something like that. Leadership style and organizational impact. I've given you several different leadership styles here, and I'll probably do a matching with this, so make sure that you're aware of what these concepts are and the explanation for them. So have a good idea of those things there. And then the last one will be transformational leadership. And I might ask you some questions about transformational leadership in general, because that's the one that we'll focus on within that area. Okay, great question asked here. Are leaders born or taught? I'd like you to be able to explain what that is or what that means, that a leader is really both, but mainly they're taught, they're trained. Okay. And so know that slide. Know this quote. Ask yourself this question: will this matter a year from now? Now, you probably remember me discussing this in a previous lesson, that is what you're doing today, does it have any eternal value to it, or will it have an eternal impact? So that's a very important thing to look at. Know John 15, verses 1 through 5. You don't have to have it memorized, but know what's going on here, especially in verse 5. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me, and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. So understand what's going on in John 15, verses 1 through 5. You see this illustration there. You can do nothing apart from Christ. I taught about read it, believe it, and live it. And so that comes directly from Ezra 7:10. Know about this verse and be able to explain the concept of knowing the Word of God, believing it, and living it out, and how that's connected. I taught about this. I explained this. This is a personal verse, of course, for me, but I think it's helpful for all of us that want to be stronger leaders. So focus on that. And then Jay Strack gave a great quote, and know what's going on in this quote. or who wrote it for sure, who said it. And then we see Joshua 1 through 9. Know about this passage, be able to explain what's going on in this passage. And you see that there in these two slides. That's within the lesson, Seek Godly Success. I guess 3 slides there. And then meditate on this. The word meditation is used in the first chapter of Joshua. And so be able to explain why that's significant. Meditation, it's explained as a cow chewing her cud. And so be able to explain what that's about. Just kind of interesting thing there. And then our greatest fear should not be a failure, but of succeeding at something that doesn't really matter. D.L. Moody said that. Great quote to be able to know about or to know, and then really who said it. So as I said earlier, you don't have to know these quotes verbatim, but what I would like you to know is what they're about and recognize them and who said them. Then leaders know the basics for administration. This comes from Exodus chapter 18. It's a wonderful chapter about Moses and his father-in-law Jethro, and be able to recognize the basics for administration or be able to list some of those out. That'd probably be more important there. And then Paul's leadership or leadership in Paul. I give you this teaching. It's 1 Corinthians 11:1. Be imitators of me as I am of Christ. And then Paul set these 4 things in motion. He set the example, standard, boundaries, and the tone. And if you remember, tone is really about 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And everything that you do it in love. And so he's setting all these things. So know that slide, very important slide there, okay? Well, this has been the review for the final exam. It's quite a bit of material, but you definitely can do it. And you'll be taking the exam in the next week. All right, God bless you. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.